Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, shields, deathly search, pests, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm Useful Idiot, and I want to talk about Syria again today because I think it's pretty striking that after a 50-year peace agreement with the Assad government, for all intents and purposes, Israel is at war with Syria. And I know in technical terms that's not true, and there's no clash per se between Syrian forces and Israeli forces. But the magnitude of um, Israel's efforts to take advantage of the crumbling of the Assad government and this new jihadi government that's being set up in Syria is certainly on a warlike scale. We have Israel has done over 500 airstrikes all over Syria to basically destroy all the military capabilities whatsoever of the new Syrian government. And 80% of Syria's weapons apparently have been destroyed. And considering the fact that the new Syrian government has discussed the idea that they want to have a good relationship with Israel, and they're going to be cutting off the supply line to Hezbollah from Iran, it just seems like a strange way to start this new arrangement with the new Syria. And another part of that, of course, too, is that Israel's moved beyond the Golan Heights, the so-called demilitarized zone that's existed there for 50 years, and they've moved and taken over Mount Hermon and extended their control over the Golan Heights. And let's remember that by the international community, Israel's occupation of the Golan Heights is still not recognized and still considered illegal, although ironically, Trump, during his first term, was one of the first international governments to recognize Israel's right over the Golan Heights. But now we have Israel expanding its control in that region, and just like their occupation of the Golan Heights, they're calling this new occupation a temporary thing. But of course, the temporary appropriation of the Golan Heights has lasted 50 years. And so now that Israel's taken over more territory up there, they're pretty much going to stay there. We know this to be a fact. So for all practical purposes, Israel is take advantage of the situation, confiscating more Syrian land. And then there's a couple other interesting developments going on too. We have Israeli settler groups talking about moving into portions of Syria that border Israel and setting up shop. And also we have Druze communities in Syria that are openly discussing the idea that they would rather be part of Israel than be part of the new Syria. And so that's another thing we have to watch for moving forward. Of course, everybody's going to be taking advantage of this collapse in Syria for their own agendas, including Turkey, a major player. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Turkey ends up annexing territory from Syria, and it looks like de facto there's going to be a lot of territory in Syria that will become somewhat part of Israel at this point, and could also end up being annexed because of the weakness of the new Syria government, particularly now that Israel's destroyed any military capabilities they have and any capabilities to defend themselves. All bets are off about what's going to happen. And we've seen the Middle East carved up before historically by European powers before, and in this age of a world gone mad, and with all this calamity in the Middle East, it would not surprise me in the least if Syria ends up getting carved up to some extent or another. But to go back to my original point, it's really strange to see that the Israeli government, well, apparently they recognize the nature of the new government because they know they're based originally out of Al-Qaeda and ISIS. And even though Israel's had a cozy relationship arming and supporting Al-Qaeda and ISIS in their attempts to topple the Assad government, including infamous footage of a lot of Al Qaeda soldiers being treated in Israeli hospitals. It seems Israel's very pragmatic about the fact that there's a new government. They're not really sure what to expect, and they're hedging their bets by destroying any military capability they have. And it's really pretty odd as well to, at least publicly, there doesn't seem to be any protests from the new Syrian government, which seems rather odd as well. So it's going to be very fascinating to watch this situation unfold in Syria, but they're definitely going to be the sick man of the Middle East now, and anything is possible moving forward. But for right now, however briefly, uh, Israel has a new war on its hands, basically bombing the shit out of Syria and confiscating their land. I'm a useful idiot, don't you be one too?